Welcome back to the Canadian Real Estate Channel. I'm Adam JD Martin, and today I'm going to share with you 3 secret strategies that I'm using today that I know you're not. And one of the things that I know is true is that these strategies are not just being used by me, they're being used by the entire 1%. Chances are you're in the 99% right now, and today we're going to fix that. I've been using these secret strategies to help me find better deals and make better offers on properties and get my own property sold for more money and faster. If you're like me, you've had to sell a property at a time that wasn't perfect, at a time where properties are sitting with higher days on market, sitting longer than you want, and tying up your cash. These strategies are going to help you to unlock your capital or buy properties faster when other people are unable to succeed. These are 3 strategies that your realtor forgot to tell you about, or maybe they just don't even know about it yet. So I'm gonna have to ask you to reflect. Think honestly, is your realtor doing this stuff for you right now? Are you working with the right people? Are you doing this for yourself? You don't even need a realtor to do some of these strategies, but they are going to help you to make massive gains in your portfolio. Listen up. First strategy, reverse offer strategy. This is a strategy I know none of you are using. If you have used it before, drop it in the comments because you're part of the 1%, and I am talking to you when I say I need to hear from you. I want to hear what other strategies you have. I want to hear what I'm forgetting to include in this video. Drop it below. But for the rest of you listening at home, thinking, what the hell's a reverse offer? I'm making a lot of offers, but I've never done a reverse offer. A reverse offer is when you go to list your property and you're sitting there on market and you're thinking, what the hell? The market conditions suck. I need my capital out right away and I'm not getting offers on my property. The thing is, if you're priced appropriately and you've at least gotten some attention, some showings, some interest, but you're not generating offers today, you need to start reverse offering. A reverse offer is where you as the seller turn around and make the offer to the buyer. Yeah, it sounds simple, but nobody's doing it. I guarantee your realtor's not doing it for you right now, and it's something you can start doing immediately because it's in your control, and that's the number one thing to focus on about this strategy. It's in your control. You control the offer process. You make it irrevocable by the seller and initiate that contact. See, people have a fear of losing. People have a fear of loss. Okay, it's called loss aversion. So when you initiate the trade, when you initiate the actual offer by making the offer to the buyer, you start the conversation. You open yourself up to be available to the buyer countering that offer. Now, it doesn't always work, but it's such a rare thing to see that some buyers might go, wow, you know what? We were looking at that property. We did have interest. We just didn't like this one thing. And that gets the conversation rolling, not about whether or not you should or should not transact on that property, but about the one thing or that 1 or 2 things that are holding your buyer back. And if you know what's holding your buyer back, then you know their motivation. If you know their motivation, then you know how to fix their problem. And if you can fix their problem, you can compel them to transact. And that, my friends, is how you do a negotiation. You find their problems and you solve it. We always say here, it's why it's on my hat, problems are profits. If you know the problem, you can turn the situation into a profit. Reverse offering starts with market analysis. You need to understand your property price point first so that you can generate some interest. If you're getting no interest at all in your property, then you're priced too high. Or there's amenities or issues with your property that are inconsolable. Fix those first. Fix your pricing first. You need to understand the market in order to list it properly. But then once you have it listed properly and you're getting interest, you can start making the offers. Action is always better than reaction. You want to take this into your control and start with the action. Do your market analysis, then start making offers to the people that have shown some interest in your property. There's a reason that they showed interest in your property. You need to find out what that is, and you need to figure out how to solve their problem. Then you prepare the offer with terms favorable to you, but that get the interest of the buyer so that they can actually tell you what was wrong, why they didn't immediately offer on your property. Don't forget too that things change as people are in their house search. When people are doing their house search, they go through a series, almost a life cycle of their actual search. First they start, they're curious. They're assembling their power team. They're assembling capital. They're trying to figure out where they would like to live. They're trying to figure out what that asset looks like. They're trying to imagine living in their new place. Then they look and they look and they look and they look and they don't find what they're looking for. And that's why they're still in the market to buy. That's why they initially showed interest in your property. And that's why they didn't action, is because they're still looking. They don't know what they want. They're trying to figure it out. By initiating this transaction with them, by initiating their curiosity, you're taking it into your control and forcing them to say no to you. And when they say no to you, you need to ask why. Maybe it's just price, maybe it's simple, or maybe it's they don't like the garage, they don't like the color of the house, they don't like the flooring. Well, those are all simple things that can be fixed. Those are things that you could give reductions in price or other sorts of compensation for. But at least you know what the problem is and you know how you can fix it. Next, you present that offer. If you've never done a reverse offer or your agent hasn't done a reverse offer, think of it the same as making an offer on a property that you're trying to purchase. You want to make the price and terms suitable for both you and for the seller, and you want to structure the presentation in such a way that you draw out their concerns. So I would consider writing a cover letter on a reverse offer saying, hey, it looks like you showed interest in our property. We believe we're at a fair price, and we believe that we've got great amenities. We've done great renovations. We've updated the kitchen, the bathroom, the flooring, the landscaping, the lighting, the paint, and we're just trying to get some feedback from you as to what held you back from offering on the property. So we've presented you with a bit of a price reduction, or we presented you with these terms based on what you told us before. You're initiating that contact. You're presenting it to them so that you are humanizing the process. You're bringing your personality into the deal, and you're forcing them to say no to you. And you're forcing them as well to lose out on a deal. Hey, we've got an irrevocability period to action this item before 5 p.m. in 3 days, or whatever your timeline is. You create scarcity, you create urgency, and you create a situation where they actually tell you what their motivation is. It's a win-win-win-win-win. And that's what we're here for. It's problems or profits, and that's a solution right there. The next strategy I wanted to tell you about is conditionally solds. You're probably not looking at the properties that are already conditionally sold. What's interesting about that is if you don't have a ton of experience on the buy side, or you haven't worked in this industry for a long time, what you may not understand is a lot of those conditionally sold properties are going to come back on the market. But you don't need to wait for it to come back on the market as an active listing versus a conditionally sold listing before you offer on it. Some of these people are tied into deals, and we will have more information as realtors. We'll be able to see on the back end, in some cases, what conditions it's contingent on. We've got two different categories. We've got conditionally sold, do not show, and we've got conditionally sold, continue to show. But some people set their searches up improperly, so they don't even look at those properties. The issue with that is, and I'm going to lay this out in a scenario for you, about how this can go wrong and how you're missing opportunity here. They're conditionally sold on the sale of an existing property to get into a new property. What ends up happening is this daisy chain, this chain reaction, where person A is trying to purchase house B. So they sell their house in order to get the money to buy the next property. But that house, original house, doesn't sell. They never get the money. They never purchase property B. That whole time, the seller of property B still needs to sell, and the seller, property A, still needs to buy. So they're going to end up selling that asset as well. You've got two houses that have been taken off the market because they're conditionally sold that you could have been offering on that you were not offering on before because they weren't part of your search, right? And a lot of us, we run these searches that we get set up on realtor.ca or we get set up on Matrix. And what ends up happening is they get removed from your search, so you don't consider them as viable options. They are viable options. You have to offer on these. You can come in and be what's called a backup offer. You can even push out the original person on that deal because the seller might back out of a contract where they have an escape clause that allows them to do so, where they can take your new agreement that has favorable terms, whether that's price or actual terms like closing date and flexibility for them. They might take that and accept your agreement and back out of that previous contract. They have the ability to do that. So you're literally just not offering on houses where they already taste sweet victory. They think they're conditionally sold, but they have that fear, that loss aversion. They don't want the deal to fall through. And if the deal falls through, they're not purchasing their next dream home. They're not purchasing the house that they're looking at, that they need the cash out of their original house for in order to purchase. That is going to be a significant loss for them. So anything that you can do to offer on that property to sweeten the deal, better price, better terms, no conditions, things like that will help you to get a massive advantage over the conditionally sold contract that they're into right now. You are not taking advantage of that. If you were, you'd be busy working on your portfolio, not sitting here on YouTube today. So drop me a comment. I know that's kind of harsh, but I want to know, are you offering right now on conditionally sold properties? And if you aren't, why aren't you? Were you even aware that you could? What's holding you back from doing it now? How many offers have you already sent today? How much more effort would it be to send 5 more unconditionally sold properties that are not necessarily going to end up firm and sell? Get ahead of the rest of the herd, okay? The 99% are gonna wait till that comes back as an active listing. They're gonna wait. They're not gonna take advantage of the situation at hand where somebody's already counted their chickens, okay? They're already planning on that next purchase, whether that's another property or the boat that they've been waiting to buy, the truck, whatever it is that they're motivated to buy once they get that capital in hand. And you can slide right in there in their conditional contract and take advantage of it by making better price or terms for the actual seller. Please, guys, understand the gravity of how big of a deal that is. You can literally increase the properties that are inside your search by probably 10x, depending on what market you're in, just by expanding your search to include conditionally sold properties and actually implement making offers on them. Finally, with all the market instability, everything that's gone on with the current market, whether that's inflation, whether that's GDP sucking, or whether that's rates being really, really, really high. These days, the best thing that you can do for somebody is to help them in their transaction to get closer to making the deal with you. And what I mean by that is looking at the previous situation we were looking at. If somebody needs to sell their current home in order to buy their new home, they're counting on somebody being able to purchase that property in order for them to get the capital to purchase their new home. That situation is extraordinarily stressful. They get kicked out of their current home so that staging and marketing can happen on the property to make it more attractive. So maybe they're incurring rental expenses somewhere else. They're really scared about whether or not their current property is going to sell in order for them to get their new home. And in that process, they experience a lot of different factors. They have additional cost in the rental that they have to get while their property is being staged. They could incur the actual staging cost themselves. They have the holding cost of that property while they're looking for their new property. And they need to go and negotiate for a new property conditional on that original house selling. That's scary because if something happens with the sale of the original house, they're really painted into a corner on getting into that new one. So for you, the seller, one strategy I don't see a lot of people doing, and I don't know why, as an investor, you should offer flexible closing dates. Flexible closing, that means no penalties for extending the closing date, no penalties for shortening the closing date. Now you might be thinking, well, I'm paying all this capital expense because I'm holding on to, I know you have holding costs. You've got your taxes, you've got your insurance, you've got your utilities, you've got your mortgage payment, and I get all that. You've also got your financing expenses. I get it. I really do. But the thing is, you need to look at the market conditions of today. Today, it is a freaking buyer's market. Anybody that tells you otherwise is wrong. The conditions today are such that there are more properties coming on the market and sitting for longer than there are buyers that can actually afford to buy the things. It's not a question of demand, it's affordability right now. What you can do for those buyers that are looking at the array of properties in front of them that are all sitting is make it sweeter for them and easier for them to transact. Getting to an easy yes is incredible. It is so much more valuable than experiencing a bunch of hard no's and a bunch of maybes along the way. Getting to an easy yes means creating favorable terms for your actual buyer who has the entire market to shop from. Okay, you're not special. You are not the only property on the market. You will have to stage your place. You will have to make it look great. you will have to go the extra mile. And part of that includes having flexible closing dates so that those people who are counting on the sale of their original properties to happen, because they're also sitting on the market with you right now, they can count on actually closing with you on a flexible closing date. And that allows them the security to actually go forward with your deal. It's gonna make you stand out. Nobody's doing it. I guarantee less than 1% is actually doing this. If you're doing it, again, drop it in the comments because I wanna know what else you know that I don't. But these are 3 secrets that have helped me get a lot more out of my portfolio, make a ton more offers, and get more from the properties that I'm selling. If I've missed something, please drop it below. What are some other secrets that you guys are holding on to? And I have to apologize myself for not sharing these strategies with you earlier.